bit of a longer here today, but it's an entire week all in one, and some pretty useful information, I think, towards the end. Talking about rehab, working through pain, working around pain, through like acute injuries. What do you do on the day when you wake up and something hurts? Things like that. And then the same thought process can be applied to more chronic injuries, to more serious injuries as well. So like I said, this is Deload week, so just put everything together all in one. Nothing super crazy. Day one was high bar, top set of 8 at 150 kilos here. And then one back off set of 10. Bench, I did still have a single, although it was only RP6. I was actually feeling pretty strong this week on bench, so I hit pretty much the same weight that I've been hitting for the last couple of weeks, maybe just under, but it flew. I was not really 125 consistently that fast, just the training block, I don't think. So it looks like a little bit of rest did bench really, really well. Back off set went well too. It's just 2 sets of 6 at 105. Deadlift was full sets of 6 at 180 kilos. It's extremely light intensity for me. It's probably like 60-ish%. I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but I could realistically do sets of 12 to 15 at this weight. I'm really good at high rep sumos, and to be only doing sets of 6 at such a low intensity, I'm curious to see how it's going to go. I haven't spent a lot of time doing like 5 sets of 6, doing a lot of volume at that light of intensity. So it shouldn't be too fatiguing, but it's also a lot of work at the same time. And I have a hunch it's going to go pretty well. Lat pull downs on this day, was just some accessories with my friend here and decided to have him help me with some forced reps. Haven't done these in a very, very long time. And there's maybe a lot of back and forth on how effective they are, but it's fun to do every now and then, regardless of whether it's necessary or not. That's a whole different discussion that we could talk about forever. I'm gonna follow that up with, I think, like 2 sets of 8 on cable pullovers here. We did some Bulgarian split squats with a 10, I think, for like 2 sets, and I think I'm holding 40-pound dumbbells. Don't remember, not too important. Two, just some close grip that today. So a set of 5 at 110 kilos is actually a PR. I don't think I've ever close gripped this much. And then the same for the back off set. Just a 1 back off set of 10 reps, and pretty sure this is also a rep PR. So it's pretty sick. Thursday, my primary day, and again, deload, but still doing the easy single at 6, followed by some very easy back off sets. So I ended up doing 180 for my single. Felt really strong today, really fresh, but just not quite in the groove, not quite prepared to lift, if that makes sense, which is pretty normal for me on deloads when it comes to squat and deadlift. I tend to do well with a little bit more fatigue, but feeling more ready to lift heavy, not necessarily being super fresh. Which ended up hitting the same weight as day 1. Again, it flew. It's pretty happy with. With that. Deadlift, just like squat, felt really fresh and really strong. Just not quite in the groove and ready to lift, but again, that's all good. Don't really need to put up anything big on this day. It's just about staying practiced and getting a tiny bit of work in while dropping some fatigue and reset. Cheers. Might have fucked my knee. Not completely, but I guess this would be a good time to showcase how we go about rehabbing / working through pain / working through injuries / whatever you want to call that. So yeah, I woke up with some pretty bad knee pain on my left knee. I have full passive range of motion, so when my quad is not loaded, I can bend my knee to full knee flexion and back. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's doable. It doesn't hurt when I flex my quad with my knee just extended regularly. So I don't think it's muscular. It's likely a tendon. What does hurt is flexing my knee, so flexion under load. That's pretty bad. So I can only do about 1/8 of a squat. I can't squat very deep at all. I can sit in deep flexion, so it's only that middle range that's painful. Luckily this week is still a deload, so maybe it's not going to be too bad. Or I don't need to work hard, I guess is what matters. I don't need to work hard today. I don't need to squat heavy today. Not that I would try to anyways, but it's just going to be 1 or 2 sets of SSP tempo squats. So I think squatting is probably out of the picture, considering I can't even do a regular bodyweight squat. I might see through some warm-ups and stuff if I can get to a belt squat, maybe do a couple belt squat sets. And if not, maybe some sort of lunge variation, or maybe some goblet squats. Maybe I can just work up from a bodyweight squat to a goblet squat. Maybe some sort of goblet box squat or something like that. Try to limit knee flexion. So we'll see how it goes. Kind of show you what that process looks like, how extremely boring and unexciting it is, but how necessary it is sometimes. And I guess we can follow along, see if this develops into something worse, or hopefully it gets better. Think for a new training block. So, like I said, I hurt my knee. I think I might have slipped on some snow or something like that on Friday. I was out hiking. So I think that makes sense. I'm not really sure what it is, what it might be, but It's sort of right on the inside of my kneecap, right above my kneecap. Kind of feels like the tendon attached to my teardrop. It's pretty tender afterwards. Saturday night when I'm editing, recording this, it's pretty tender today after training, but I just got some good work in. I'm pretty happy with how this went. So this is a deload. I'm supposed to only do like 1 or 2 sets of SSP tempo squats. So I don't need to get a lot of work done. I just wanted to sort of progress in any way I could. Started with some really wide squats to a pretty high box, quote-unquote box, just to start moving. And these were already uncomfortable. This was about the maximum amount of knee flexion that I could do when I came into the gym. And this was already painful. So started there. I did cut all the reps here, but I did at least 100, 150 bodyweight squats in total. So this is the progression that I went through. Really wide with some assistance, and then really wide with no assistance, and then flipped around. I used the lower bench, and I went with a narrow stance. So here's a narrower stance, and then I took the same narrower stance to the lower bench, went through the same thing again, got rid of the assistance, went through a bunch more. I'm not counting anything here. I just kind of kept going. I also walked on the treadmill for about 20 minutes maybe before I started moving around, before full move. And that's a really good point to make as well. It's getting warm, getting your body temperature up before you actually start stretching. If you start stretching and doing mobility drills while you're still cold, of course you're going to feel stiff. Of course it's going to feel like shit. You need to get your body warm and get blood flow going first, then start stretching and do mobility and moving around. That'll be a lot more effective that way as well. So here we go, I lower the box even more, and this is down to pretty much a full depth squat with a narrow stance again, with assistance, and then eventually I'll take away the assistance, just do body weight to this low box, and then start adding load. Once again, by this time I've done well over 100 body weight squats, and that's a really, really big point, is not to rush this. If I just walked in and walked on the treadmill and then did some stretching and some foam rolling and got under a barbell and said, ow, this hurts, of course, and then I said, oh, I can't squat. Well, yeah, obviously, there's a 5-pound dumbbell. But because I took the time to go through this progression, I was able to get some work in, and I was able to eventually get to a bar as well. And if I wanted to or needed to, I could have added load and probably squatted something relatively decent. Or with a 5-pound dumbbell, then a 15-pound dumbbell, then a 25-pound dumbbell, and then a 40-pound, and then a 50-pound dumbbell. The most uncomfortable or the most painful part was the first descent on the first rep. And most of this had very, very, very little rest. I was just going back to back, and I noticed a couple times where I rested a little bit longer, or I was having a conversation with someone that the first rep was even more painful than previously. So I tried to keep it moving as best I could, even when I was walking around in between sets. I tried to bend my knee a lot and continue doing bodyweight squats. And all day after this, I have continued bending my knee as much as I can and doing a bunch of bodyweight squats frequently throughout the day, just to try to keep it moving as much as possible. And after goblet squats, I started hopping with belt squat, so I could still use my arms for support if necessary. The biggest thing that I was kind of concerned about was just my knee giving out, kind of falling backwards. So that's why I kept using the really low box for the goblet squats, even though I definitely could have just squatted to the same depth without it. But it didn't hurt in the bottom. That wasn't a range of motion that was painful, so I wasn't really losing anything by losing tension to the bottom. And it was a tiny safety net, just so I didn't fall on my ass in the middle of the gym. But same thought process with the belt squat. Having my hands on there felt a little more secure, even though I wasn't using my arms at all. I did 1 set of 10 at 1 plate, 1 set of 10 at 2 plates, and then 1 set of 10 at 3 plates. So to really get up to 3 plates per side on the belt squat after not being able to bodyweight squat in the morning is a pretty huge progress. Then just to prove to myself I could, I went on the SSP and did 1 set. Yeah, that first rep on the descent was really painful, but it got a lot better after that. And if today was a volume day, or if it wasn't a deload, or if I was supposed to do more work, I probably could have loaded this up, and I probably could have done at least 1 plate or some easy sets, maybe even 2 plates for some easy sets. And that's a key takeaway, is that, like, one, I wouldn't have to. Even if it was a day where I was supposed to do more, that doesn't mean I would have to do more. If this is all I could tolerate, then that's all I could tolerate, and that would still be a win for the day, and I could make progress the next training day. But knowing when to back off there is important, but also knowing that I could have done more, and that next week, when it's not a deload anymore, when I have more training volume I need to get done, if it's still painful, I know that there are ways that I can make it easier and ways that I can still get work done that won't make it worse. Yeah, and speaking of that, Monday is supposed to be a top set of 8 high bar, followed by 3 sets of 10 back-offs. So stick around, follow along if you want to see how I tackle that based on how the knee feels. I think at the very least, I'll be able to do 2 to 4 sets of ascending sets of 10. Able to do 1 set of 10 at 1 red, and then 1 set of 10 at like 90 kilos, and then 1 set of 10 at like 100. Something along those lines. That's my current plan. And then I'll just see how it goes on the day.